Hi, I'm Alina Frank, and today I want to show you the basic recipe, the long version, the older version. And it is the original. Now it's being called at EFT Universe, we're calling this the clinical version of the basic recipe. So, to start off, you're going to be tapping on the karate chop point, and that is the fleshy part of the side of your hand between the base of your pinky and the top of your wrist. And you're going to take 4 fingers of your dominant hand and tap on the side of your non-dominant hand. However, you can switch that, or you can tap both sides at the same time. It really doesn't matter. So you're tapping on this point over and over and over again at a pretty quick pace, although it really is an individual sort of process. If it feels more comfortable for you to go slowly, I know someone in particular that goes very, very, very slowly when they're doing EFT. I tend to go much faster. It's okay. The amount of pressure that you want to exert is about the same pressure that you would exert if you were strumming your fingers on a tabletop. Not so hard that you're going to cause any pain or discomfort, but not a light feather touch. However, we have found that that really doesn't matter either. You can actually just touch the point and hold and breathe in and out. You can do it that way as well. Very forgiving process. So, for now, we're tapping on the side of my left hand with the right hand. It's more comfortable for me to do it this way. And you are going to say a setup statement. A setup statement has 2 parts. It's the acknowledgement of the problem and then a statement of acceptance. Lots of versions out there. We're going to stick with one that is pretty generic, although I'm going to use as a demonstration for this round of tapping, I'm going to zone in on an event and how I feel about that event, because it's been shown that if you are very, very specific, you're likely to get better results. So, tapping on the side of the hand, the event that I want to work on is my anger at Uncle Bob for what he said at the party last week. And where I feel it in my body, if I can connect with that, that makes the statement even more specific. And that's what we're really wanting to do as our goal. So I'm thinking about Uncle Bob. Last week he said something nasty to me at the party, and I feel all this anger in my chest. Level of intensity on a scale of 0 to 10, we call that the SUDS level, the subjective units of distress. 0 means no intensity at all, 10 means really high, and you just want to gauge how you're feeling so that you can see an improvement as you go along. So, I'm thinking about that, and it's about a 5. And some of you won't be able to pinpoint a number, and that's okay too. For children that I work with, I just ask low, medium, or high, and that works just fine. So I'm about a medium on that scale of 0, no intensity, 10, very intense. I'm about a 5, so I'm about a medium on that. And so I'm going to say the setup statement, this whole big long statement at this point, the karate chop point. And I am going to say, even though I feel all this anger at my stomach at Uncle Bob for what he said at the party last week, I deeply and completely accept myself. Now you're going to say that statement 3 times. Even though I feel all this anger, I think I said in my stomach, I really meant in my chest. I really feel all of this anger in my chest at Uncle Bob for what he said last week at the party. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I feel all this anger in my chest, what Uncle Bob said to me at the party last week, I feel all this anger, feeling it in my chest, I deeply and completely accept myself. You say that long statement, the acknowledgement of the problem, where you're feeling it in your body, the emotion that's going along with that. And the second half, I deeply and completely accept myself, which is a statement of acceptance. So we got that down. That's the first part. That's that whole big long statement. That is called the setup statement. Now from there, we move on to actually tapping on all the points. And the points that we're going to start off at is the eyebrow point. The eyebrow point is that point close to the bridge of the nose. You can tap both sides at the same time. If you actually push down right there at the start of the eyebrow, you'll feel a little indent, and that's the actual point. You don't have to be exactly on the point because you are tapping. You're sending vibration throughout that whole area. So it's all right if you don't get it exactly. Okay, so I'm tapping on one side, I'm crossing over the midline if I want to, or I'm doing both sides at the same time. Does not matter. And I'm saying a reminder phrase on all the rest of the points. The reminder phrase is something that's reminding you, tuning you in, tuning your brain in to the problem so that it can be fresh up there in that neural network. It's being lit up, and that way we can shift it. So I'm going to say, this anger in my chest. And that's good enough. This anger in my chest. This anger in my chest. Side of the eye. This anger in my chest. This anger in my chest. This anger in my chest. Side of the eye is between the socket and the temple. So right between those areas, again, you'll feel a little indent there. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. I'm saying these statements, the reminder phrase, approximately 3 to 7 times. However, at this point, I rarely say it more than once or twice with my clients. But when you're first starting out, go ahead and try 3 to 7 times with it. So under the eye, again, you'll feel if you press down, that's a very sensitive area, but if you press down on the bone, you'll feel a little indent there. That's the actual point. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Under the nose, between the bottom of the nose and the top of the upper lip, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Chin point is this line that you have, this indent. So here's the chin. It's not actually on the chin. It's on this line that you have below your bottom lip. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Now, the next point is pretty significant, so you want to get both sides at the same time. The way to find that is you have a U shape at the base of your neck, right? Following me? Right here, if you push in, where a man would tie his necktie knot, that U, the top of that U, if you feel those nubby parts right there, my husband's going to kill me because he loves to be exacting with the anatomy. He's a chiropractor, and I don't know, I should know this. I know it's the collarbone, right? The collarbone point is what it's called. So you go diagonally across and down. Again, you'll feel a dip, but you want to tap both at the same time. You can very gently with an open hand tap that area. I have my clients make a small fist, and they tap right over, and I describe it on the phone as where a man would tie his necktie knot. So again, repeating the reminder phrase throughout all these points. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Next, you're going to take 4 fingers, and you're going to tap 4 inches below the armpit on the side of the body, and using 4 fingers because it is a large area. And again, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. The next point is on the side of the thumb. Take 2 fingers on the side of the thumb. The actual point is just in alignment with the top of the nail bed right there. But if you take 2 fingers on the side there, you'll hit it. Again, you're sending vibration, so it doesn't actually have to be right spot on. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Index finger, same place. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Middle finger, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Skipping the ring finger, going to the pinky, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Back to the same spot where we started, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Now, the next part of this is called the gamut point exercise. So if you were to draw an equilateral triangle, and the base of that triangle is between your first and second knuckle, the top of that triangle is the gamut point. Again, you'll see a dip there, and it actually corresponds with the meridian that's connected to your index finger, or your ring finger, and that's why we skip it. So if you actually tap on that, and nothing's going to happen. It's really okay for you to be repeated again. It doesn't matter. But that's the reason why we skip, if you're wondering, the ring finger. So, gamut point. You're tapping at the back of the gamut point, and you're doing a series of brain balancing exercises. And now you want to close your eyes, open your eyes, look hard down one way, look hard down the other way. Circle your eyes as if you are looking at the hands of a big clock in front of you one way. And then go around the other way. Doesn't matter which way you start. And this, and also with the left and right, hard down left, hard down right. Again, it doesn't really matter which way you start as long as you get both sides. The most important part of doing all of the 9 gamut exercises is that you keep your head straight and you don't look down, you don't move it around, you don't do this thing. You keep your head straight and only your eyes are moving. Okay, so let's repeat that again. Open your eyes, close your eyes, look hard down one way, look hard down the other way. Circle your eyes as if you're looking at the hands of a big clock one way, circle them the other way, and then you want to hum a few bars of a tune that's recognizable where, it has instant recall, is what I meant to say. So instant recall for me is Happy Birthday. I don't have any negative associations with Happy Birthday, or else I wouldn't be using that. So I'm going to hum a few bars of Happy Birthday. And then I'm going to count to 5 quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then hum again. And that is the gamut exercises. Then you want to go right back up to the same point where we started and repeat again. This anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Side of the eye, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Under the eye, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Under the nose, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Chin point, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Collarbone, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Under the arm, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Thumb, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Index finger, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Middle finger, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Pinky, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. And then karate chop point again, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest, this anger in my chest. Now, I like to have my clients finish with taking a deep breath in and out, or you can take a sip of water. And I'm checking in and seeing that level of intensity, that 0 to 10 scale. Where am I? That low, medium, high. I'm thinking about what Uncle Bob said last week. I'm not feeling anything in my chest. I'm not feeling anger at all. It's collapsed completely. It is a 0. So that is it in a nutshell, the basic recipe, the clinical version. Thank you.